Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. You search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Again, give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On ATL. I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. This segment of the show brought to you by our friends at Built Bar as well. Don't forget to check out all the other shows here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. This is A to Z. You have Hitting Hard with John Chuckery, ATL Day Ones with Jarvis Davis and Tanisha Batiste. Don't forget about our Braves postcast after every Braves game. In which I'm not sure when you're listening to this, but they got an early game today at 12:20 at Truist Park. So a little day game action before they get away up to Nueva York to go face the New York Metropolitans. And then, of course, Locked On Falcons and Locked On Hawks. We'll get into the Falcons coming up here a little bit next. Just a couple of updates from training camp. And we'll do that next as well. And someone called me an NFL loyalist, which I find absolutely hysterical. But nonetheless, we'll get to that coming up. I wanted to talk merely about Spencer Strider. I can't say enough words about Spencer Strider at this point in time. And to me, it is utterly laughable that anybody who is objective about what they are seeing can look at the Braves rotation right now. And this is before we see Odorizzi and before we see what he can bring to the table. But how you can look at the Braves rotation right now, and think about if the playoffs started tomorrow or the playoffs start obviously in October, how Spencer Strider should not be one of the top three starters on this team. I am just beside myself. And yes, I'm talking to you, my good friend Carl Dukes from 92.9 The Game. If you guys have followed me on Twitter, he and I have gone back and forth. That week I filled in over on 92.9 The Game, and I told him this was back in the middle of July. When I said, yeah, Strider is one of the three starters. It's Fried, it's Wright, and it's Strider, and that's it. Send the three young kids out there, forget the other guys, and let's move on. Strider has the best stuff on this staff. You've heard me say that before, and it bears me saying it again. Doesn't mean he's the best pitcher. It just means he has the best stuff, and he's got the proof to back it up in everything that he does. Look, he has made 12 starts this year. 12. Okay, he's only given up more than 3 earned runs in 2 of those 12 starts. He has struck out at least 7 batters in 8 of those 12 starts, and that includes 4 double-digit strikeout games. This stuff that he has is flat out electric. Strider's likely going to be the Rookie of the Year, and he is a guy that absolutely can be trusted to take the ball, given what we've seen from him in situations that matter, because he doesn't seem to be fazed by much. If the only thing you want to knock him on is the fact that last night was the first time he'd actually gotten past 6 innings. If you want to knock him on his, let's call it lack of economics, lack of economy on his pitches, that's fine. I've said repeatedly, that'll come. I mean, there was a game against the Mets earlier this year. It took him 103 pitches to get through 4 2/3. Now, he struck out 8. And again, you're going to throw more pitches when you strike guys out. Why? It takes 3 pitches to strike a guy out at least. It only takes 1 pitch to get a guy out. Right? I mean, the math is there. But nonetheless, again, this is a spot where Spencer Strider has proven to this point that he is a guy that can be trusted in the biggest of spots. And oh, by the way, the team themselves are 7-5 in games he started, right? Again, 2 of those were blow-up starts where he gave up 6 earned runs to the Giants and 5 earned runs to the Nats. Those happen. Braves lost both of those games. But in every other game that the Braves have lost with him on the mound, the other 3, 2 of them were extra inning games. So clearly he did his job, and the bullpen did not. And then it was his very first start where he gave up 3 earned runs in 4 1/3 in a loss to Arizona. And that was, in fact, the first start he made before. That was the last game before that 14-game win streak. But in the 11 starts since, the guy has been freaking phenomenal. And the team since then, okay, is 5. He is 5-1 in those starts. And there are guys out there who believe that if you haven't done it in the playoffs, well, then we're having a different conversation. To that in a minute. First, a word from my friends at Built Bar. From the amazing people who invented healthy and tasty comes to you the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given you the coconut brownie chunk puffs treatment, right? Remember I talked to you guys about puffs? It's this protein marshmallow that's so tasty. It's so light. It's so fluffy. But now they've given you the coconut brownie chunk Built Bar flavor you love, covered in 100% real chocolate, fluffy like a cloud, coconut brownie goodness. Stop drooling. Now listen, these are good for you. These bars are great for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, all delicious, and they're here for a limited time. Go to Built.com now to make sure you don't miss out. They're going fast because they taste amazing. I know. I've had them. I'm somebody who's very conscious about what I eat, and when I do it, and Built Bars are part of my regular routine, especially when I want a post-meal snack or even something late at night, like getting closer to bedtime that just wants to fill my belly, and I know that it's good for you. The best part about Built Puffs, of course, they taste amazing. You can enjoy them all guilt-free because they're actually good for you, the perfect treat. It's delicious, coconut, rich, sweet, brownie, creamy marshmallow. Go to Built.com to order your box of coconut brownie chunk Built Puffs bars right now. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 at Built.com. All right, back to the mustache, Spencer Strider. And my buddy Carl Dukes, his contention is that, well, Morton has done it in the postseason and done it again and again. And I'm like, that's great. That doesn't mean that Strider shouldn't start. Guess what? Kyle Wright has never done it in the postseason. Are we not starting him? What's Kyle Wright's postseason record? Zilch. Should he not start? No, you're starting him based off him being the best pitcher right now. By the way, Tyler Matzik never did it in the postseason until last year when he did it in the postseason. Like it's a loose argument at best because you're just going to give the ball to the guys over this year on 162 games you've seen trust you. The Braves have Kensley Jansen as their closer. Guess what? That guy fell apart in LA, which is why he is now the Braves closer. Because they had seen enough of him failing to go, we need to move on. I've seen enough of Charlie Morton failing. I've seen enough of Ian Anderson failing to know I don't need to give those guys the ball in the postseason. I don't. There's no reason to. If I have Max Fried, Kyle Wright, Spencer Strider, and hopefully Jake Odorizzi, that's enough for me. And that ought to tell you as well, as I said earlier in the last segment, how much they are worried about Morton and Anderson and how little faith they have in their performance this year that they went out and got another starter. An accomplished starter. Oh, by the way, with postseason experience, my good buddy Carl Dukes. So I'm not so worried about him doing it in the postseason. When he gets the ball, his stuff is good enough to do it in the postseason. Because it's not like he's just getting by. He is overpowering people. He is overwhelming hitters. He is controlling games. I mean, for crying out loud, last night, there were 20 outs that Spencer Strider got. He struck out 13 of those dudes. 13. I mean, what else do I have to tell you? I don't know what to tell you. What I can tell you is Spencer Strider has earned the right to be in this postseason rotation. He has shown he is one of the top 3 pitchers on this staff, and he has shown that he deserves every opportunity to be in a high leverage spot in a start in the postseason. And oh, by the way, if there's a guy on this staff that I trust that can get out Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Strider is the first guy that I'm going to. Yes, and that's over Max Fried. Why? Because his stuff is better than Fried's. Fried is a better pitcher. Strider has better stuff. And I don't think that's debatable at this point in time. All right, coming up next, we got to hand out a shovel of wisdom because I am not an NFL loyalist. I will explain, plus an update from Falcons camp. That's right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast, search Locked On Sports Atlanta.